All right, we're going to talk a little bit about how things are scored and what you need to do to get the best score possible. So if you look at this rubric that you have in your hands too, if you look right here, your 2D, 3D, and art design skills only counts as 1/3 of your grade in the selected works section. So this is your best 5 section. So that means that what you actually write in your materials, processes, and ideas, and your writing, which is your assignment for today, counts as 2/3 of your score. So that is how important this part of it is. We only are going to look at this 4 and 5 because that's where I want you all to be shooting for, is scoring the 4 or the 5. So in the art part right here in A, if you get a 5, that means that your visual evidence of advanced skills, 2D, 3D, or drawing. So you have advanced skills and there is evidence of that. That's what they look for. And then visual relationships among your materials, processes, and ideas. So since this materials, processes, and ideas is in the rubric so often, it is very important to make sure that when you're talking and writing things that you write the best possible little blurb for your materials, processes, and ideas. They are clearly evident and demonstrate synthesis, which means they all go together. And your written evidence identifies the materials, processes, and ideas. So in the selected work section, you're not being scored by the same person who scores your sustained investigation. So that blurb that you write, what you have to write today, they don't see that. So you have to describe all 5 of your best pieces and tell why you did it, because they're not getting that blurb that's on the other part of it. So they're completely scored complete different people. And a 4 would be good drawing skills or 3D skills or 2D skills. I have pulled up this and I attached it to your lesson for today. These are the elements and the principles of design. The elements of design are the tools that are used to make art: line, shape, form, color, texture, space, and value. So when you're talking about your art, how you created it, you might want to use these words. All right. And then there's the principles of designs, how you use the tools. So you might have used shape to create pattern. So if you use these words, it will probably help you in your score because you're showing how you used the principles of design, is what you should be talking about. So you would talk about form in your 3D pieces. You might talk about proportion. You might talk about balance. I don't know what else you might get out of pottery, but it's possible you might use some of those. I wanted to look at Rachel is one of the people that has put all of her pieces into, nope, sorry, do that there. All right, she has put all of her pieces into the AP portfolio. She started with photography, just regular photography. She's going to need to change materials. That is the camera that she used, but her material would probably be a digital photograph, is what I would put in that section. And then processes, and she can talk about this, but she needs to talk about how she digitally altered. I don't know that I would put specific apps that you used, unless it's Photoshop, and that sounds good. But I don't know about if they would even know the Pixlr app. So I might take that part out. So she has all these pieces in here, and she put them in an order that shows growth and shows. So she did that, and then she started like doing these multiplication of the video of them and creating new designs with her nature photography. And then she did stuff like this, where she took other pictures and overlaid them on top of the nature photography. So it shows growth, and that's the kind of thing you want to make sure you show the growth. And she did not put any in progress works. But if you put an in progress work, it needs to be, you can either put like this one. Oh crap, I can't pull it up. Like you can put like this one, which is just an in progress piece. It needs to be right before the actual piece. So if you put it in progress, they need to be kind of grouped together. And you can even make stuff up. I'll show you Cade's from last year. So she did this sketches of hands just because she was working with hands in her pictures. And then she talked about her process, and she talked about experimenting with different types of clays and textures that the clays made. And she put all these little notes on it. She didn't need this, right? No, she made this up later. It looked good, and she sketched out some different shapes of some pots. She put her in progress here. So this was her reference photograph she took and her line drawing. And then she put the final piece where she had painted on it with the clay. She made a 5. So whatever she did worked well. All right, let me see. We looked at that. And then, so this was the selected works. Now we're going to turn your little papers over, and we're going to go to the sustained investigation part. They score you a 1 to a 3, and they look at your inquiry, which is your question. Remember, you had to start your written blurb off with a question. So you get 1 to 3 points for your question. So does and this is, if you get a 3, written evidence identifies an inquiry or your question that guides the sustained investigation. And so this and is very important, because here, if you get a 1, it's an or, like you do this or that. So make sure that you're looking at both sections, that the visual evidence demonstrates the sustained investigation. So do your 15 pictures show what you're actually saying that they're supposed to show? Hopefully they do. And then you've got your practice, experimentation, and revision. You need to use the word, you need to talk about, when you're talking about your work through the 15 pieces, you need to talk about practice. You need, like this image number 4 shows how I practiced, like Cade practiced the hands. So, and here is where I experimented with a new technique. And here is where I did something, but then I revised it, like your thing with Lackey, you revised it to something different to get your final thing. So you need to make sure you use all of those words in your written blurb. So your visual evidence of practice, experimentation, and revision, so make sure you use all of them, demonstrates development of your sustained investigation. And the written evidence describes how the sustained investigation shows evidence of practice, experimentation, or revision. So you make sure you're saying how it happened. Like you have to say, I mean, like they're giving us the exact things you need to write in there. So I'm giving you the rubric with the exact things you need to write in there. So make sure you use all this. So your materials, processes, and ideas. Visual relationships among materials, processes, and ideas are clearly evident and demonstrate synthesis. And I went down here to this one just to make sure I knew what. All right, so it's another big long word. Integration of materials, processes, and ideas.
They don't give us enough words, like enough like room to describe our process.
Yes, they don't give you a lot.
Because like my process is like way more in depth than what they give me room for.
But you have to do it in that spot.
Yeah.
So that's why you need to do it when you're writing it. You need to write it in something with a character counter, because if you write it in there, and it'll let you write like a lot, and then you hit save, and it'll delete everything up to the 1,200 characters.
What annoyed me is I had written every single thing, and then I went to press save, and it timed me out and got rid of everything. So you have to make sure
hit save as you're going. Every time you put something in, every time you put a picture in, and then down here, 2D, 3D, drawing, art, and design. visual evidence of good and advanced skills. So look at all of these things. That is not even very important on their list. It's even listed as the last thing. So good evidence of skills is not the most important thing. So you have to make sure to get this writing correct. All right, so that's the rubric, and y'all can take those papers, and I'll print more if I need to, and they're online. I put them on today's assignment. If you come here, these are also on today's assignment. This is the 2D design, so it's not for everybody, but this is a 2D design, and right here it shows what this person put. But we're going to go down to the photography one because we did not do embroidery. Keep going. All right, so this is a photography. This is selected works, top 5. So they put their idea, and they put biblical stories, contemporary context, Adam and Eve. It is a digital photograph. So that's your materials, processes, dramatic lighting, and desaturated colors. Everybody kind of does the processes different. Like you can took the photograph and then edited it and made it higher contrast, but you need to put why you made higher contrast, like to show details or to give it a certain feel or certain look or something like that. So you can add that into your processes, but you don't have a lot of space. So then they actually, if you want to take the time to come through and look at these, they actually give you a why this is a score of a 5 based on what the rubric says. And here they talk about the skills that are in the art. We're already past that. We have the art already. So materials, processes, and ideas. It tells you that that got the 5 because there's clear evidence of the materials, processes, and ideas. And then if you come to the writing, and even talks about why they give the score of a 5. So if you want to, if you're somebody that likes stuff like this, like the why, you can come through and read, and there's different ones, but just make sure when you're looking at them, you look at the score. So this one's a 4, so it's not as strong, and maybe not because this isn't as strong, but maybe this isn't as strong. So you can read the different ones of these. That's here. It's posted for today. And here is the examples of the sustained investigation. And if you go through those and you go to the end, it actually has what the student wrote as their blurb. Did they answer the question? And you need to have a question with a question mark. And you can see that they talk their way through it. So it explains what it means to be Black. It provides answers. And then it talks about in images, you need to do this because everyone that I've ever seen that scored well says you have to talk them through. In images, this and this, I showed this. In images, this and this, I showed this. So would you write this before you have them in the correct order and you know that you're, I mean, if you don't have all of them and you're going to still add some stuff later, you can still write, but don't, I mean, you can go back in and change the numbers if you needed to. But you need to have them as much as possible in the right order when you write it all out. And make sure you use all those keywords that you can underline or that are bolded on that rubric thing I gave you. And then it tells you why. And it explains, if you look on the rubric, it's got row A, row B, row C, and this tells you exactly why in all of those that they scored a 3, which scored is the same as is the highest you can get. So this is on your thing for you to look at as well. Now, I have explained all that I think I'm going to explain for this recording. And, oh no, I want to show one more thing. I liked give me a second. All right, on this one, you can see I've told some of y'all about making a collage of your in progress pieces. So you don't have to use a whole section just for one progress. So you could put a collage and put multiple things that was part of your process. So if you have I don't know if you have a sketch of something that you made and then you got a process picture. You can put a lot of them into one section like this right here. All right, I think that's all I was going to tell everybody, so I'm going to stop the recording. If you have questions to the people out there in the digital world, text me or email me and ask me whatever your questions are. All right, bye.